Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Take a Spin. We have a really great episode for you today, but real quick, Happy New Year and happy holidays. We made it out of 2024. It is now 2025. Now, we just went through Chill AF. I'm recording on January 1st, but we just had Chill AF last night, and it was a fabulous time. Now, originally, Sophie Coran, who is our guest today, was supposed to be on the show, but Sophie lost her voice, so we had to get a sub. And Sophie, we really wanted Sophie on the show, but when your voice isn't there, your voice isn't there. And she's a fabulous singer. We were sad we had to find somebody else, but it was the right call. And we hope to have Sophie maybe on next year's Chill AF or something else. But the great Emily Drinker, who we've had on the podcast, and is a dear friend, she was on my release show back in October, and she did a fabulous job. And she brought the band. And so Emily, her band, Emmett Druding, killed it, and of course the Rob Tait band did a great job, and you guys showed up. My God, that was a good time. Everybody was dressed to the nines. I bought a bunch of those New Year's Eve hats and all the blowers and all the other stuff, confetti and all this other stuff, and it was a really great time. We debuted a couple new tunes. Emmett Druding sat in on one. Emily sat in on a song we did at the record release, and my wife, Anne-Marie, sat in on a song I just wrote. It's called You and I, and it was an honor to share the stage with all of them. And big shout out to my band that night. It was Ethan Kane, Will Courier, and John Covert. We have made it to 2025, and I'm going to be announcing a whole bunch of new dates. They're not set in stone yet, but look out for March, look out for April, look out for the summer. Things are coming, and we're very excited in Rob Tait land. Like, in talking about myself in the third person, you kind of have to disassociate a little bit, but what a world we're in. Anyway, thank you so much for being here at Let's Take a Spin. And today, Sophie Coran's on the podcast. We talk a lot about Sophie's new record and all the work she's doing now and all the great music she's making. And I'm so excited to have her on the podcast. Here she is, Sophie Coran. Go check out her music. And I just want to give a quick plug. Go ahead and pre-save her single, You Sound Ugly When You Cry. And next week, you can pre-order her album, I Don't Go to New York Anymore. And you got to be excited for this record. I heard bits of it. It sounds great. It sounds really good. So here she is, Sophie Coran, and our discussion or conversation here on Let's Take a Spin. Check it out. All right, and we got Sophie Coran on the podcast. How are you, buddy?
Good, Rob. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. When this is released, it'll be New Year's Eve.
Hey.
Which you can come see Sophie play at Chill AF New Year's Eve. Stop.
Yes.
Speaking of, do you have any surprises for tonight?
Maybe one or two. You'll have to come out and see for yourself. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Do you have like a weird cover up your sleeve?
We are going to be doing a cover. I'm going to be playing...
Oh, don't tell me if it's supposed to be a secret. Sorry.
No, I won't tell you, but I'm very stoked because I'm going to be playing with my guitarist, Rob. Robs are only a good thing, I feel like always a positive association. But anyway, I love Rob palette so much. And so we're doing our duo set for the gig, and we're going to do some of the songs off the record. We're going to do some unreleased songs and, a cool cover here or there. So, yeah, it'll be fun.
Very cool. Speaking of, is this the same Rob who had his bass stolen?
It is, yes.
Yeah, so if you're in the music community, Rob, I know his bass was just stolen. You can find him on Instagram, see what it looks like. And if you find it, please help us report it.
Please do. Yeah, we want Rob to get his bass back.
Oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I know, me too. He only deserves the best, so...
Was it like leave it in the car situation, or was it...
I'm not entirely sure of all of the specifics. I just know that he went to look for it for rehearsal and it wasn't there. So, yeah. Ugh.
Don't you hate that?
When bad things happen to good people,
I know. I had a drum set where I was loading back into like somebody's house or something, and I had left a floor tom on the ground by the front door, and I forgot about it.
Yeah.
Came back the next day, it was gone.
No.
Yeah. But hey, that's what happens when you're not paying attention.
And sometimes, honestly, even if you are paying attention, like, it's just, things happen and it sucks.
It does. And it sucks to see it happen to good people, too. But I guess that's how we become more resilient in that way.
Exactly. Yep. What doesn't kill you?
Yeah. This season, girl, you better work. Anyway, so today is Chill AF New Year's Eve, but next week or the week after, January 8th, Sophie has a record coming out. Single, excuse me.
Single,
what's the song called?
And we will be announcing the pre-orders for the record. Yeah.
That's so exciting. What's the record
Yes.
called?
The record is called I Don't Go to New York Anymore. And the single is called You Say I'm Ugly When I Cry. So,
Damn.
yeah, a very mean thing to say. No one has ever said that to me, by the way. I thought it was a great song title and, but I am an ugly crier, 100%. Yeah.
I can't think of someone who's a good-looking crier.
Yeah.
Even in Hollywood, when you're crying, like you have like tons of effects on you. That's not natural.
No, I mean, honestly, like, I do think people look really pretty when they cry because their eye color is more visible, and
Oh
I
yeah.
think it's really, like, a poignant thing, but, I'm definitely an ugly crier for sure. But, yeah, so that's the single, and then we'll be announcing the album, and that album is out in the spring of 2025. So,
That's so exciting. Are you doing any specific pressing for that?
like, vinyl?
Yeah,
I would love to. So we'll have to kind of see how this all unfolds, but it would be really cool to do some vinyl for sure. Yeah.
of course. And I mean, you've been crushing it lately, like opening for folks and doing all sorts of stuff.
Thank you.
And I'm
The fun never
excited for.
stops.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't stop. As my wife pointed out to me the other day, and also I don't know how you feel, but 2025 came out of nowhere, and
I know.
I feel like I'm already behind.
I do too. I do too. Yeah. When the inbox is a little high, I know that I'm a little behind.
Is there like a number on your email that when you see like the little bubble in your screen is like, okay,
So, funny story, for the last like 4 months, I haven't been able to access one of my email accounts. And I'm like, oh, like that's so interesting. I guess, Amazon and Uber and Lyft and just stopped sending me receipts. Great, less emails. And then I realized that I just didn't change my password. So, like, the other day, I finally accessed it and I got like 4,000 emails. And that is like, I have a couple different email accounts and I try to keep it. If it's like below 40 in the inbox, that feels like pretty good. I have all my folder. I'm very organized when it comes to that because I feel like my life feels very chaotic sometimes. So I like to try to be as organized as possible with those sorts of logistics. So
well, I
yeah,
bow to you. Because my studio looks like a rat just or a tornado just went through and demolished the place.
I mean, that's how it should look. That means you're doing something good. You're creating and you're making cool stuff. So
Or a pack rat. It's one or the other. Or I am, not you. I am. But that's super exciting. But no, it's great to be that organized, especially when you're doing all this stuff yourself. Sophie
yeah,
and I are both DIY songwriters, and we're
yes.
trying to figure out this crazy world. But so what's the origin of the name of the record, which is I Don't Go to New York Anymore? Is there a specific story?
Oh yes. I used to live in New York. That's where I went to college, and
Where?
I went to Manhattan School of Music.
Awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah, MSM. And the record is kind of about when I fell in love for the first time and my first heartbreak and just kind of honoring my younger self and being, living in New York, going to music school. And it's interesting though, because like this period of time was, I mean, over a decade ago. So I guess, yeah, I think it was kind of during COVID that the inspiration came and it just felt like this thing that I had to do. It was very clear to me. And I was really grateful for it because with this record, it felt like the songs that I was writing were kind of finally in line with the kind of music that I want to be making. So I go to New York a lot, to be honest. I really like New York. So it's kind of just a funny thing because, like, you know how you associate certain cities with certain people, and you're like, man, why did I have to live in New York? Like, of all cities, it's a big city and one that is unfortunate to feel like you can't go to anymore. So it's just kind of a funny nod to a really poignant time in my life.
Okay. So would you say it is a love song, or it's more to the city than the
I would
relationship?
say it's kind of about me. It's more of like a love record to younger Sophie.
Aw.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the songs are about heartbreak and kind of working through that and kind of processing like this thing that I was going through. But it's really like I think there's a lot of joy on the album. And I got to collaborate with some of my friends who I went to school with and they're like amazing artists. So it just feels like a big thing for me and I'm really proud of it. I'm excited for people to hear it.
What friends did you work with? I'm guessing these are Manhattan friends,
Yeah.
all Manhattan school friends.
Yeah, so the title track I worked with my friend Kate Davis, who is an incredible artist. Everyone check her out. And then on another one of the tracks called I'm Here, But I'm Not Here, I worked with my friend Bria Lee. She's also phenomenal. She sounds like Amy Winehouse. It's really ridiculous. So these were huge gets for me. And then also I had a couple other friends play on the record. So strings are one of my friends, Shelby Yaman, who I went to also to MSM with, and she's done a lot of string work on my past projects. So she's playing all over the record. And another one of my friends, Tiger Darrow, she and I produced one of the tracks, Jeffrey Campbell's, and she didn't go to MSM, but I met her that same year after I had graduated, and we had gone to a songwriting workshop at NYU. So I reconnected with her a couple of years ago, and she's an amazing producer, cellist, artist, and she lives in Brooklyn. So I'm really stoked that she's involved with the project too.
That's amazing. I did not realize this whole record was such a big collaborative process for you.
Yeah. And then plus, my main collaborators and bandmates and stuff like that, the OG crew. So no, it's definitely been a long time coming, and I'm very excited to finally put it out.
That's so exciting. So how long have you been working on this record?
And so I guess I started writing in 2020 and 2021. We started tracking in 2021. I think it was 2021. And then we finished tracking. So like all of the kind of bass tracks and everything took maybe like less than a year, like a couple months of like some solid sessions. And then we had the strings and then wrapping up all the vocals and overdubs. It took and then the mixing and, and mastering. It took like 2.5 years, but then it took me another year to figure out what I wanted to do with it, try to find the right people to work with. And and now it's not coming out till 2025. And the first single came out in September 2024. It's been like a 3+ year project. As these
It's so
things
funny,
often are.
man. It's so funny. So this is definitely like, these are COVID songs.
These are COVID songs. I wrote, the writing was done in like 2022 max.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's amazing, though. So,
Yeah.
it must be like pulling teeth trying to get everybody together on this collaborative process, getting the whole record done over the span of these 3.5, 4 years.
Yes,
you finally relieved?
Honestly, I'm just really excited about the next project because that's kind of what I'm working on now.
Wait, Sophie, we haven't heard this record. You're already on the next one?
I mean,
Sophie!
the thing about this is the thing is like, yes, it did feel like pulling teeth, but really mostly from myself, because I'm so grateful to be working with the people that I worked with, and everyone was very supportive, and it really takes a village and everything like that. But there's like limitations with money and time and scheduling and like mental health and just kind of like timing. I think I said timing, but like everything has to feel right. And then just all of the artwork and like figuring the aesthetic out and everything. But during this process, I hadn't released anything since my first album, which was Space, and that came out in 2021. I was like, you know what? I have so much music in my head and that I'm working on right now that I would love to like try to put stuff out more frequently, and I don't want to wait 3 years again. So I'm gonna hold off on doing like albums for a while, I think, but like a couple EPs, but yes, absolutely. Like a 4-track EP, very doable. A 14-track album, a little more ambitious. So I'm feeling very inspired and very motivated right now, and very excited about, I think, where I am and where I'm hoping to be.
That's great. I didn't realize there was so much overlap. So you're an artist that like, while you're putting out the record, like it's mixing and mastering, you're already working on the next batch because you don't want to wait. That's great.
Because I know that the next batch is going to come out in like, I'll be 65. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I'll be 109. Like, I like to try to be writing it, because also like I feel so much better when I'm writing songs. It's just the way that I work through all of my feelings. And when you're, when you're doing all of the logistics for a record and you're not writing as much, it's like a different kind of energy, and it can be very exhausting. And I need to be able to figure out like and express myself, with the songwriting. So it's just like something that helps me regulate my emotions, or not regulate them, but like understand them. Keeps me on track.
So it's your journaling process, so to speak.
It's literally my journaling process.
I love that though. But like, do you ever find that when you are journaling or write just like your morning, do you do morning journal stuff?
I used to, like, the morning pages or something like
Yeah.
that. I used to do that, and I do that sometimes when I'm trying to write and I'm stuck. And I'm like, "Wait, Sophie, how have you ever written a song before? Like, do you know how to write?"
Mm.
So, yes, I love all of that stuff. Anything that gets you further to it, I agree with it. So, yeah.
My favorite songs that I've written, and you're probably the same way, or I'll write like a thought, and something will happen in the thought where it's like a line pops out that you've written, and then the song kind of writes itself.
Oh my God, yes.
I've
Gifts
had
from the
3 or 4 of
universe.
those,
Yeah.
and really exciting. In fact, one of the new tracks that I'm working on myself, talk about overlap, is one of those, and so super excited about that, and I know you are too.
Oh, that's amazing. I can't wait to hear it stuff.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we just put out the record, so I
You
don't want it to feel like I was chastising you. I'm just as bad.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, I have the next 7 projects ready to go. You're killing it, by the way.
You're very
Congratulations
sweet.
to you on on the new album and all of the touring and crushing it. Yeah.
We're all trying, right? We're all trying to do the
We
darn
sure
thing.
are.
But you know what's funny, and maybe we could talk about this, which is, even if, because from my perspective, it looks like you're crushing it as well. Like, you're opening for all these folks in Milk Boy, you're doing all these things. But I'm sure on your side, you're also thinking like, yeah, but I could do more. And I constantly have that conversation. It's like, I feel like I'm not doing enough.
Yes, I feel that way quite often.
Mm-hmm.
And I go through phases, I think, where I'm definitely like feeling more grounded and kind of more realistic. And then versus like, I'm a failure and I'm not doing anything. And, like the reality is that I think that we go through cycles. And so I also think that it's just really important to be mentally in a good of a place as you can be, because like then you're able to see things more clearly and make things happen for yourself. So I know that like when I'm not feeling good, everything that I'm doing is almost feeling like it's coming out of a more desperate place. And so I feel like I'm putting that into the universe, and so I'm not hearing back. I'm not hearing back on shows, nothing, it feels like nothing's happening. But when I'm feeling a little bit more settled and I'm like, all right, like these are my goals. I want to try to achieve these. Let's do it. It usually works out. And because I feel like, I don't know, you have more of the answers than you think that you do. And I think that we need to trust ourselves more because we know what we're doing and no one really knows. And I think at the end of the day, like you just got to keep going and keep writing the songs, and then kind of stuff happens from there.
1000%.
Yeah.
And you're clearly doing the work, like showing up and writing these tunes. But yeah, we all feel like we probably could be doing more. And
I know.
but giving ourselves the space, like, no, I need to rest, or again, like your headspace, like you were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, sometimes I just want to sit on my sofa and hang out with my cats. You know what I mean?
What do you think I did last night watching Dragon Ball Z, dude? I was reliving my childhood every night when I get home.
Exactly. So I think it's like balance. And for me, I'm again, like I was saying before, because I feel like so much of being a musician it's really inconsistent and it's kind of uncontrollable and up and down. And so I am a list person, and I am a calendar person, and I am like a very goal oriented person. And so I'm like, all right, this is what I want to try to get done today. And I'm like working towards these goals, and then I feel like I'm working towards something, and I feel like it's more manageable than being like, must get tour support slot today, must, get on 2,000 playlists today. If I don't go viral on TikTok tomorrow, I'm a failure. Like, that's not really realistic. But if I'm like, I'm going to reach out to this booking agent, I'm going to try to book this, these 4 shows in the next 3 weeks. I'm going to try to like put together this tour. I'm going to try to like finish a song. Like, those are realistic goals. And then before you know it, you're doing the things because like you've put in that work in a sustainable way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was thinking 1,000 things, but you just spoke my language, like the
Yeah.
whole thing. I get ridiculed a lot in this house for my lists and and my calendars. Oh my God, I drive myself crazy. If you could see, if I felt comfortable, I'd show you the Post-its I have on my desk.
I'm like pointing to my pink Post-its on my desk. Oh my God.
Oh, you got pink? I got blue.
Well, I also have green and orange. Here are the orange ones on top of my piano.
There you go.
I love like a handwritten. I'm a very visual person, so I love like writing stuff and crossing it off, and then it feels like I like completed something. But also like Google Calendar is my life. I wouldn't know what I was doing if I didn't have it.
I was a late convert to that. I have my physical calendar somewhere around here because I need to see it.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to spend any money, so I just printed out like the January,
So
the
smart.
monthly ones, just so I can see gigs and things.
I love it. That's so
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm so happy that I know that now about you because we're kindred
Likewise.
spirits in that way. But
Now I feel like we're even more aligned than we already were. I love it.
so now if we actually do a song together, we know what the art's going to be. It's going to be 2 Post-its. That's it. We're list people.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, that's not bad. List people. Ready
Yeah.
to done.
I
All
love
right. But that's great. Now,
Yeah.
speaking about the record, which is I Don't Go to New York Anymore. You mentioned that this is like a love letter to your younger self. Like, what's something that you wish you had told your younger self on top of the things you had mentioned before?
God, life is so hard, but it's gonna be okay. And you're gonna get through it. And also, like, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I mean that with career stuff. I mean that with relationship stuff. I mean that with figuring out who you are. I mean, I was 22, 23 when I was when I was living in New York and, falling in love and then going through this heartbreak. And, it's like, there's something very poignant about that. I think that the best is yet to come. That's what I would say to her.
That's so beautiful, Sophie. You're the best. Oh, that's great, man. Like, no, that's inspiring because I have some things I would like to tell my younger self too. But
What would you say to your younger self?
I don't know. I think something similar to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because we all want that as kids, right? We always want that figure, that person, somebody to kind of at least give you the credit that you'd maybe deserve or that you haven't been able to give yourself, or even just like hey, it's going to be all right.
I want that now. I want someone to tell me that all the time.
Here, I'll do that for you now, Soph. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
And you too. It's gonna be great, Rob.
Yeah,
It's just gonna be wonderful.
And everyone listening, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
No, but I now am a proud aunt, and I have 2 nieces, and they're 7 and 2. I just all I want to do is like take care of them, and I love them so much, and I just feel like I have so much more. I don't know, like as you get older, you kind of just develop more compassion and empathy and understanding, and it's like I don't know, and that's kind of what I try to remember when I'm dealing with myself and looking within. And same thing, I teach piano and I have all my piano students and I love them so much. And I feel very protective of all of these younger people in my life. So sometimes I'm like, yeah, I need to remember that the way that I treat them and with myself and be kind, to myself and that sort of thing.
That's really interesting. I never knew this about you. So would you call yourself a highly empathetic person
Oh my God.
in general?
To a fault.
Yeah, what's the, not a disease, I shouldn't have said that at all. What is it called when you're so empathetic that you automatically get emotional when you hear people's stories? There's like some sort of a trait where you have that. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like highly empathetic individuals.
Highly problematic. It can get you in trouble.
No, but all that to say, do you think, well, it probably does, but what effect does that have on your songwriting or your day-to-day, being such an empathetic person?
I think that it allows me to write my songs. Like I'm such an emotional person, and I'm a very sensitive person, as I'm sure you are, and as I'm sure like most musicians,
Most folks in this business, yeah.
songwriters are, which is why it's also so hilarious that you have the sensitive side, and then you have all the rejection and like the business side of things and the reality of the industry. I no, I'm grateful for the fact that I have so many emotions, because I think what I've learned writing this album and with the next songs and where I'm at with my songwriting is like I really just lean on my emotions now to kind of guide the writing, and usually like that lends itself to the best songs. And like you were saying earlier, kind of the gift songs that just kind of come from the universe, and you're like, all right, like I don't know what's happening here. I'm just gonna let it happen. And I think that is, I'm really grateful that I have those emotions. I mean, I don't know what kind of person like remembers a relationship from over a decade ago and writes an entire album about it, so many years later, like, and still remembers all these things. I mean, I just have a lot of feelings, and that's fine, and I accept it.
No, and that's amazing. That's a superpower.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's great, man. You should be really proud of that. And a lot of like folks don't have that, and they're very
Yeah.
me 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 me.
Yes, I think I also something that I'm trying to learn too is just to kind of protect my emotions as well because I care so much about other people and I have such a big part and I am I am a huge empath. So sometimes, you got to know when to kind of step back a little bit and I'm trying to figure that out too.
I mean, we're all, yeah, absolutely. Do you feel that you've come up with some new strategies to defend your energy from over empathizing with somebody? Like, do you have you learned some ways to do that lately?
I don't know, but like usually I'll just call one of my sisters and they'll kind of set me straight and I'll be like, they're like, so come on, like, here's
Mm.
the reality. And I'm like, oh, right. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah. So I think sometimes I need to like talk to someone else and step outside of myself to kind of, yeah, have a better handle on those things for sure. And I think also getting out of my head in general, like I really like to go to the gym. I like walking. I'm a big walker, talking to friends, like I said before, writing songs, um, doing therapy, all of these things. What else? Make drinking matcha. I'm a big matcha person.
Ooh,
Doing things that help me feel grounded and healthy. Drinking lots of water. I don't know. Yeah.
I
It's
think
like
that's
stuff like
beautiful.
that.
Yeah, I need to do a few of those things too. But like, I think that's fantastic. But so this whole record we talked about was like a collaborative process, and so was the last record, Space, to a degree. How do you approach collaborating with different musicians or even producers?
Yeah. I learned that collaboration with the right people is like the best. And I never really realized it until I started working with my band and with Michael. And, with my first album, Space, I guess that one was the first album that I had my band. And I still work with all of those same people, which is like just a testament to how much I love them. And also just, how it really is a marathon, not a sprint. But with this album, we really, I think it's so much more pop. There's a lot more electronic elements to it. And I really wanted that, and I wanted to kind of dive into this, yeah, like indie pop world, and it just feels really cool. And there's so much that I don't have the skills to do. So Arjun, Logan, Michael, me, like we're all producing it, and then Rob Pallet is on guitar on some of the tracks, and then Mike Morangelo is my bassist. He's all over it, and then I wrote all of the strings, and had my string people. So, but I think like and this kind of applies to just like the other business side of things too. And like, I think it's really important if you don't know how to do something to like find people who do and then work with them and get them on your team. And, cause yeah, it really takes a village. And the more people that you have that you trust, which takes time to find those people, I think the better off you are. Yeah,
1000%. And then on top of that, one thing people might not know about you is that you actually arrange strings for other folks.
I do. Yeah. And I love doing it so much.
Hmm.
So if anyone needs any string arrangements, I'm your girl.
Yeah, but it's interesting because like you and I share that, which is that like you are a side person on
Yes.
top of being an artist, so you know
Yes.
both sides of the coin. So you're like, all right, they'd probably need this, because those are the things that I would want when I'm arranging strings for somebody.
Yes.
Like, what are some of the things that you would need like to arrange strings for somebody? Like a focal point, like what?
Yeah. So, okay. So depending on the song and the vibe, it's kind of like where are the strings going to go? What does this artist want versus like what would Sophie Coran do? And so just kind of having an understanding of their artistic preferences. And then a lot of times when I'm writing a string arrangement, I'll do it for a quartet or sometimes an octet. But, in the past when we've been recording, it's just been a violinist and a cellist, and then they'll like double everything and it sounds like a really full section. So kind of for me, I love texture and I love harmony and I love really pretty chords. So just kind of trying to create texture and but also see what best serves the song. I think it's really about the song and how you can kind of paint a picture without doing too much.
Hmm.
So it's definitely a balance. And it can be challenging, but it's a really fun puzzle to figure out and a code to crack.
I agree, but I do think one thing that artists should do more often, and they should hit you up for this to collaborate with Sophie, which is releasing just acoustic versions of their tunes with strings. I think that should be more normalized. What do you think?
Yeah. And I have some friends who do this. Yeah, I have a friend, he's an amazing artist, Johan Lennox, and he's killing it and doing huge things. And he's also a producer. He works with a lot of artists. And I know him from the classical music world. And so he does this all the time. He will arrange full like versions of his projects just for strings, and it's so cool. And Tiger, who I was talking about before, she does this a lot too. And for my next project, I want to do an EP that's like just piano and strings and kind of just like highlighting this intimate arrangement. And everyone loves strings, like they're so emotional and beautiful.
Oh my God, they're on everything. Even if you're not a classical person, it's on everything.
Everything. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. And something about like a live string that is very cool and effective.
So when you arrange for live strings, are you pretty much you're like writing the score and then you give it to somebody, or do you use like Audacity strings or anything like that?
Yeah, so I basically what I do is I compose in Sibelius and then I import the MIDI into Logic and we'll kind of just hear it, how it sounds. I'll line it up with the track and see how it's sounding, and then a little magic has to happen between what the computer sounds like and what it'll actually sound like. But I'm very comfortable composing straight away into Sibelius. I know everyone does their process a little bit differently, but that's just what's worked for me. And then I will just extract parts and give them to the performers, and then give them also like the Logic demo to hear, how it's gonna sound, and then a little magic, and then poof, there it is. Just like that.
Just like that, it's born.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know what's so funny is speaking of like that and having the full band stuff, I guess you have to kind of walk a fine line in between both those worlds, like the more expressive classical piano and strings and the more like pop groove music. How do you do that when you're by yourself?
Yeah, this is something that I actually like really think about a lot. It's really like a question. And sometimes I get really in my head about it because um I but I think that it's actually something that I'm grateful for. And like again, I think everyone comes into their journeys from in their own way and from a different background. So a lot of the pop stuff, like I just kind of figured out as I got older. I come from like classical piano, like I used to practice classical piano hours a day. And I felt like I never quite I always kind of felt like I wasn't really in either world. So, but I think I think it's kind of just like creating something new with the music that I'm making, and kind of not really this or that, but it's a combination of a lot of things. And a lot of shows I'll play solo. So it's definitely like, it's just me and my Nord, and it's more down tempo singer songwriter, and that's like a vibe. And then there's my duo setup, which is that plus Rob on guitar and vocals, and so that's like a little bit more of an intimate vibe, but with a little more energy and layers to it. And then there's the full band, which is like fun and dynamic. And honestly, I really wish that I played guitar. Like I am so fascinated by guitarists because like there's so much rhythm that you have in a very different way from the piano. And also when you're on stage, you can like move around and dance. But the piano, like I stand, like when I play, I like to stand. But even if I'm just standing, it's like, you can't really take the piano and dance around it like you can with the guitar. So I am constantly trying to figure out that balance. And I think it's just a process. And I feel like I keep evolving, and I try to just be like, all right, what feels like the most authentic to me? Because like, I'm not like a pop artist. And I'm not like a classical pianist. I'm kind of like all of these different things, and so many artists are. And I think that's like a really cool thing.
I couldn't agree more. And I'm going to ask the obvious question. Have you thought about the guitar?
I have. I think honestly, like 2025, I want to take guitar lessons. I want to be a cool guitarist. I mean, the thing is that, okay, so I have taken guitar lessons in the past. I have historically owned a guitar, and I didn't get to the point where I got the calluses. It just hurt my little fingers. And I And it's so much harder when you're an adult to learn like a new instrument.
Mhm.
But I have some goals, and I think maybe, just maybe.
I think guitar is definitely your case. I was saying guitar
Hmm.
because there are a
Sorry, I
few
thought
on
you said
sale on Facebook Marketplace.
I thought you said guitar. Okay.
He.
So I do know about the guitar. I think it's so cool. It has been suggested to me a couple of times. I don't know if it's like really my thing. I think I don't know about the guitar, but who knows? We'll see.
All I'm saying, and I'll send you the advertisement, but there was one on sale for like 250, maybe $200.
Wow.
I don't know how you would get like your sounds onto that, but it's a good place to start.
I think that's a great idea.
Oh my gosh. Well, look, if you're listening to this the day it drops, New Year's Eve, Chill AF New Year's Eve is happening tonight, and Sophie will be opening the show duo with Rob. Hopefully, we find his bass by then, and
Yeah.
we're so excited to have you.
Oh, I'm stoked. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really glad it worked out.
Yeah, I'm sure tickets are still available. Go grab some, and
Go
maybe
grab
you'll
them.
see us do something together. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Well, thank you so much, Rob, and let's take a spin, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks, Sophie.
Thanks, Rob.